everyone. Welcome back to Decaf N Devos. I am your host, Adure, and today we have one of my best friends ever on the planet on this episode. Please welcome my sweet friend, Naudia Covington.
Hello.
Let's tell the people, how did we meet? Take it away.
Okay. So the easy answer is we met from the church we both used to work at, that we did the residency in.
Oh, yeah?
But I feel like there's a little bit of a story behind it. Okay, so we met at the church we both did the residency at.
2021.
But to be specific, we met on the night that they had, who came to sing?
Oh, Phil Wickman.
Yes.
Phil Wickham?
Phil Wickham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's his name. Yeah.
And we all were there.
Why do I not remember you being there?
Oh.
I remember going with Gio and Sydney in MG. Were you there?
I literally was sitting next to you.
Okay, love.
But that's okay.
Weird.
You know, sometimes it takes a few times.
That's funny.
To remember. But I was sitting next to you and Gio.
Okay, yes.
And
oh, wait, I do remember you. I remember, like, meeting you when we sat down.
My old roommate.
Yeah. Okay.
That was our first time we met.
That was our first time meeting.
And then we started the residency, I think, that Monday. Because I think that was a Friday.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think it was a Sunday.
Okay.
And then we started the next day. Yeah.
I think you're right.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Wait, should we talk like first impressions? Like, what were your first impressions of me? And I'll say my first impressions of you.
You know, I don't remember. I remember like the first night, or like when we were all at the Phil Wickham thing. But I don't remember that having like the residency on the first day, because I don't think that we talked. Yeah.
Okay.
Did we?
I do remember my first impressions of you.
But I thought you were really friendly.
Okay.
Really sweet.
Okay,
very bubbly.
Okay.
But I just can't remember, like, if
we did talk.
Okay.
Because remember when we had that lunch outside?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do.
So I just to like give everyone a reference, when me and Nauds met. So everyone's coming in prepared, right? Like everyone's got their bag, everyone's got their pens, everyone's got their notebooks. Nauds has nothing. Like not nothing. A pen, not a book, nothing.
And you know what? I think I was wearing like a crop top, and then our leader was like, "Hey, just like to everyone, we're talking about dress codes, and he was yeah, just like full length shirts." And I'm like,
I remember that. No, he full on called you out. Yeah, that's so funny.
But it's fine. Also, I feel like that was like, looking back at it now, I was so young. Yeah. And I feel like now working like a full-time job, I'm like, I could have came more prepared.
Yeah, no, for sure. We definitely have matured.
I showed up with vibes. Everyone showed up with like their bags, their notebooks. I came with vibes.
Wait, what's also hilarious is that you didn't know what team you were on too.
Okay. So, I'm just saying that was not my fault.
It wasn't your fault. That's so true.
Because when I was told I was going to be on a different team.
Yeah.
And then I got there and they're like, "Oh, just kidding."
Yeah. So
which it's fine, because I really think I had a good team. I loved my team.
Totally.
And God worked through it.
Totally. It was meant to be.
And you know what? He was like, "Girl, you have some things you gotta learn.
That's true.
So we're gonna put you on this team. And you're gonna learn them."
That's true. It just was funny because I don't typically have first impressions of people, but I remember I did of you because I was so like thrown off by how unprepared you were. I was like, "What do you mean you don't even have a pen and you don't know what team you're on?" So it's just funny because I'm like, I remember thinking like, "Who is this girl?" And then we went to lunch and we were sitting outside and you told us this whole like incredible testimony about how you like talked someone off a cliff before they like were about to commit suicide. Bridge.
But
yeah,
that was a really cool story.
No, literally. And that had just happened, right? Before you came to the residency? Or maybe a few months?
No, it didn't. It was about probably a year before.
Oh, okay. But still, I remember thinking like, really wow, cool. I like really misjudged this girl because she's like the real deal. So anyway.
I wouldn't say I like saved them or anything, but I feel like it was a very cool moment.
You guys, she's being humble and she's being modest.
No.
This man or person, woman,
girl, yeah.
This woman was on the side of the bridge about to jump. Yeah. She's just walking to school. And she's like literally, what did you end up doing? Like praying with them or?
Well, okay, we can tell I'll tell a short version of the story because it was
you're in for a treat.
It was really cool. Okay, so I lived with my best friend at the time, and we were living in the city. And so I went to school in a place called Station Square, which was, I'm from Pittsburgh, so there was a bridge that you had to go through or go across to get to where I went to school. But we had like a little trolley that was like inner city. If you took it inner city, like you didn't have to pay for it. But if you like went outside of the city, you had to pay for it. And my school was one stop outside the city. So I guess I was just like rushing that morning, and I like had my coat on, and I guess my wallet, or just like my wallet with my ID and stuff, fell out of my coat. So I'm like walking to the trolley station to get a ticket because I'm like the one stop out of the things. I have to pay for it. And I'm like, where's my wallet? I don't know. Okay. I'm like, don't panic. I'm just going to walk. And so I took the trolley like until like the last stop you can get off of before you have to like get out of the city to pay for it, which was the one right before the bridge. Then my like concierge calls me and he's like, hey, is this Naudia? Like somebody turn in your wallet. We have your ID. Just like come stop here. And when you come back, and we'll hand it to you. I'm like, oh, praise Jesus. Like it's not lost. I'll just get it later. Mind you, if I would have had my wallet and gotten the ticket, I would have just taken the trolley all the way to school and wouldn't have walked across the bridge. But because I lost my wallet and didn't buy a ticket, I had to walk across the bridge. So got off at the stop, was like, praise Jesus, my wallet was not lost. God's good. Great. I don't have to cancel on my car. It's not like there's anything on there to steal it anyways. But you know. So then I was just putting my music in, listening to music, and I'm walking across this bridge. Literally nobody's on this bridge except for like me. And then I see this girl hanging on like the outer rail of the bridge. So like I'm on the inside, she's on the outer rail. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this girl is like hanging off on the side of the bridge. So how cool would it be if she like saw this? Yeah. I hope she's doing well.
Please Jesus. Amen.
Yes. But so she's hanging off the side of this bridge, and I like slowly approach her and I'm like, hey girl, what are you doing? I didn't say that, but I like pretty much was like, what are you doing? She starts bawling with all this stuff, and I'm like literally holding her like on her side of the arm. See this guy on the other side of the bridge, he comes running over and he's holding her. We're both talking to her. Like she's just really sad. It was a really sad story. Anyways, there's a stoplight at the very beginning of the bridge, so the car stopped, and there happened to be a Mercy Hospital van that just stops right next to us. They get out, they're like pulling her over, and she's like crying. It's really sad, but I just remember laying my hand on her and praying for her. And this is actually right after I gave my life to the Lord. And I was like, this is not what I meant when I said use me. That's not what I meant. Anyways, she had her like water bottle, lunchbox with her, so I just like sat next to her, and then I just left it in their hands, and I walked to school, and it was very crazy morning. But yeah, it was pretty cool though because I had a chance to just be able to speak life into her in a really, really dark time. I don't know how she's doing because I don't know her name, and I just know that they took her to the hospital. So, but I hope she's doing well. She's very young, so I think she's like in her 20s.
Going straight to school is crazy.
Literally walk to school.
Like wow.
Like this guy I remember when all the cars were parked, this guy like yelled out the window. He was like, "Was she trying to jump?" And I was like, "Yeah." Sheesh. And I was just like shaking. I walked to school and like saw one of my I guess you'd say professor, teacher, I don't know. And I just like started bawling, and she's like, "You gotta go home." And I was like, "Yeah, I gotta go home." So I went home, and I was like, well, I think that was like the day I was like, I feel like a lot of people who just don't have any hope. And I feel like people who we were once lost, and now we were found. And I think our job is now to be people who just can speak life into other people and see them. And so that was like, okay, God, you gave me a little glimpse of what the world needs, which is just hope.
What we're here for. Yeah.
To be loved. Yeah.
Girl, you're preaching already, for real.
Yeah. It was really.
I'm so excited for this episode.
I don't want to say it was cool, but it was a life-changing moment.
Totally. Yeah. So I remember listening to this after seeing that she came so unprepared and listening to the story, and I was like, oh my gosh, like literally repenting in that moment. Like she is like the real deal. So this whole season is about holy friendships, and you're obviously one of the holiest friends I have. So let's like kind of set the groundwork, okay? Let's talk about your friendships overall. Have they been positive? Have they been negative? What are some things that you've learned from them?
Yeah. I think for the most part, I've always had really positive friends, which have been is a really big blessing, because I feel like I've always had people who walked with me through life and supported me, and that's been a big blessing. I've always had mentors, but I've actually been challenged recently about like how comfortable my circle is, and I don't know. I just feel like I need to be around more people who don't know Jesus in a way, because I feel like I'm surrounded by, like, I have great friends. I'm surrounded by people who know Jesus, but like, what work am I doing in a circle of people who already know and love Jesus, you know?
Right. And you also recently just transitioned back into ministry.
Yeah.
Right? So your workplace, I feel like, is a great place to minister, but because you're already in ministry again, it's, which we could talk about that if you want, the whole process of leaving ministry and now going back to it. Yeah. How has that been for you?
It's been really cool. I feel like the Lord is putting me in a repetitive season, because I think He is teaching me humility and integrity. And I just feel like I've always, not always, that's a stretch, but I feel like I've, for a very long time, been in a position where I'm doing like the back work of things that are unseen. And I feel like my lens of seeing it through was just kind of feeling like, oh, I'm not valued, or I'm not, like, I just don't feel like I'm doing meaningful work. But now I'm kind of getting into like the perspective of like, God sees me and He is working through me in the unseen, and that's what matters. It doesn't matter about being seen in the work that we do.
Come on.
That's powerful. So I'm doing pretty much the same thing I actually did.
No way.
When we were
in the residency.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But in a different ministry, and I don't know, I just feel like it's hard.
Totally.
I won't say it's not challenging, because I feel like I've had a lot of challenges, but I'm learning that, quite simple, it's just not about me. And we're just a part of God's huge story, and we get to play a part in it, and that's my part I'm playing. It's a very small part, like, of the many parts that we play. But yeah,
that's beautiful. It reminds me of this book. Have you heard of Anonymous by Alicia Nicole?
I feel like no, I'm thinking of Uninvited by
Okay, I love that book too. Anonymous.
I have not heard of Anonymous.
Okay, listen.
What is it about?
One of my top 3 favorite books of all time. It talks about the 30 years of Jesus's life before he was famous, essentially. So like, he spent 30 years being unknown by the world. And anyway, the whole book talks a lot about like, just because a season is unapplauded, it doesn't mean that it's unproductive. And like, he wouldn't have been able to walk out his 3 years of ministry if he didn't walk out those 30 years in private well. So I think everyone who works in ministry should read that book, because it's really like good. It's so powerful. Sorry, I cut you off though when you were talking about friendships. What are some things that you are learning right now through them?
I think I'm learning how to be a good friend. I think before I had a lot of just friends,
like surface level.
Yeah, like, and it's easy to be like that when you, especially in like bigger churches, and you meet a lot of people. Totally. I mean, even when we were in the residency, like, we met so many people.
Yeah.
But I think I'm just learning just the sacredness of friendship. And it's not just having people around, but doing life with people. And I just don't feel like, I mean, I've been blessed, like I said, I've been blessed with a lot of great friends, but I don't feel like I have ever seen friendship the way that I'm seeing it now. And I think it's because this is like, I've just moved, and I'm not, surrounded by a ton of my friends, but it just has made me, I think, value my friendships more, and just realize that, like, it's just such a blessing to have really good friends, not just people who are around you and just go to dinner with you and just like, but people who actually like walk with you through the valleys and the mountaintops and sit with you. And come on. So I think I'm learning how to be a better friend, and to be more intentional, and like checking in and all the things.
No, I think you're a great friend.
I still have some voice memos I need to listen to from our group chat.
No, it's okay.
I have not listened to yet.
So. I'm so late with those too. No worries. I it's funny because I think people don't talk a lot about friendships when you get into your like young adult years.
Yeah.
Because when you're growing up, you have a lot of like proximity friends. It's like this person's in my class or this person's in my neighborhood. And then you get to college and it's kind of the same thing. Like this person's in my dorm or this person's in my class. But like once you become a young adult, it's like you actually have to pick friends. And I don't think I realized the process of picking people. It was always just like, oh, they're just around me. So with you moving to Charlotte now, like how did you, because you already moved to Atlanta from Pittsburgh, which is already a time, but like now you moving to Charlotte, like having to start over, how has the process of building community turned out for you so far?
I mean, it's challenging because I work from home. So I don't like, I just feel like I'm never on the streets. Which is like not bad, but like I just am literally not doing anything. But but the thing is like God has been so kind and even like blessing me with you guys because it's like I don't feel like I'm lacking. Like I have a great Bible study and I have great friends here and back home in Pittsburgh. And I feel like it's just like I said, kind of just showed me like the beauty in having like really good friends.
Yeah.
But I mean, even in Charlotte, I feel like I am learning to. This is gonna be, and I don't mean if this sounds so corny. Like I feel like I am learning to be a friend to myself, and also like a friend, like having a friend, being a friend in Jesus as well. Like I feel like when I was here and I had like a lot of friends and people around me, like I feel like I was just kind of on the go all the time and I wasn't really like spending any time with myself or like learning to just like love what I do and learn about myself. And like and now I feel like I have that time to like learn about myself and what I love to do and just like the way that God had like created me to be and you know like kind of being able to like just be more in tune with that. But also while still like going to Bible study and like being surrounded by my Christian friends there, and that's been sweet. I feel like it's a better balance, much. Okay. Yeah, because before when I was here, I would literally like never be home. I was like always going somewhere, always doing something.
No, seriously, it was every night.
All the time.
We were doing something. Yeah.
All the time.
So true.
I'm like double booking myself.
Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started with how many times I've double booked myself for real. No, it's funny because I just talked about this in my, well, I talk about this every year when my birthday passes because there was one year, it's actually the birthday I had right before I moved to Atlanta. And just the idea of like loving yourself or like becoming your friend first. I remember the feeling or the revelation I had when I realized like, wait, I don't have to wait for people to like affirm me or like encourage me or be a friend to me. Like I can literally write love notes to myself. And so that's when I started writing like little birthday notes to myself. And there's still to this day, the one thing I like look forward to every year is opening up like my own love note. Cause I remember I wrote this in my Instagram post, but it said something like, I thought that loving people more than myself was what made me like holy and pure, but it's actually what made me really sad because no one was loving me the way I was loving others. And so like I realized how much I had to like love myself first. And that's why the scripture talks about loving your neighbor as yourself. Yeah. Because you can't love them well if you're not loving yourself too. Yeah. So but I take that with a grain of salt because this generation does have a love of self spirit.
They do.
So
they
like
do love themselves.
They do. They do.
But I will say too, like I think it's really it comes from like an overflow of the love from the Lord. Like,
come on.
I think when you fully know, and being loved is also being fully known. And so I feel like the person who knows you the most is the person who created you. And so I do feel like when you get to know the person who created you and you understand his love for you, you can love people not in the way where you're not expecting anything back because we all want to still be loved and
totally,
but you can love people freely. And not like feel like you're loving them in like a conditional like, and even if we don't try to, like I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm gonna love you because I want you to love me. Like nobody. I mean, like some people say that, but like nobody is intentionally like saying I'm gonna love you because I want you to love me. But I can look at you and now say like I'm gonna love you because I know what it's like to be fully known and loved, and so I can love you from that and not love you from my idea myself. Because it's just not gonna. It's gonna run out. You know,
come on, so good.
But I think I'm learning that too. Like, I don't know. I just think, I think there's a beauty in being able to love people simply just because Jesus does, and He loves us. Thank God He does.
Gosh,
girl, we would.
Can you imagine?
Going through some things if you didn't.
No, truly. It's funny. I'm like talking a lot about books, but I just read a book a week last year. And so
a book a week?
Yeah. Do you remember that was my New Year's resolution?
Oh my gosh.
It was hard.
I'm impressed.
It was hard.
Did you keep up with it?
I did not. I did like 21 books, I think. I tried.
That's good.
No, I got
21
pretty far.
books?
I got pretty far. But like that's not like even I think I fell off.
A month, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. But anyway, I just read a lot of books. And so awesome. I'm referencing another book, but it's Bob Goff is now one of my favorite authors. And he wrote a book called Everybody Always.
I need to read that one.
So good.
I heard it was so good. I read his.
All right, next question. What do you think differentiates a good friend from a holy friend?
I really struggle with this question.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I want your thoughts.
Okay.
But I think I struggled with this because I feel like this can be perceived so many different ways.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because I feel like God is holy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if God is holy and you're saying, how can we be a holy friend? Then the really only answer I would have to that is we have to look to somebody who is holy.
So good.
But at the same time, like, we're not perfect.
Totally.
I think I would say like a good friend is someone who will sit in and listen to you in times of struggle. And I feel like a holy friend is someone who will speak life to you in that side. So I think it's really just like a perspective of a good friend sees you for, you know, who you are. And I think a holy friend sees you for who God has called you to be. And so I feel like it's just a perspective, and I feel like that, like, there's so many other instances, but I feel like a holy friend's going to walk with you in life from that perspective, and a good friend can only walk so far with you in life.
Ooh,
from, like, you know what
that's
I mean?
So good.
And I think a holy friend can be a good friend, but a good friend isn't always a holy friend. And
that's a bar.
I saw this thing, and she was like, I asked for flowers, and God gave me rain. And she was like, when you understand the perspective of that, then like you can get it, like, you know.
Wow.
And so I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, like a good friend is going to hold an umbrella over you and try to protect you from the rain, where I feel like a holy friend's going to sit in the rain with you and allow your growth to happen, but sit in that growth with you and not try to protect you from it. You know what I mean? Because when we ask, like, the video that I was saying is like, you're asking for flowers and God gives you rain. It's the growth of, you have to go through something that's hard in order to change and grow. Like, we don't just, like, when kids are young, you can't do everything for them and protect them. That's not how they learn and they grow. And so I think, like, in a way, that's kind of how I see like a holy friend versus a good friend. I just think, yeah.
You literally can't hold it in. I'm sorry. It's coming down.
What?
That was so beautiful.
Oh.
And sorry, I'm like getting emotional. That was so well said, first of all. But I'm getting emotional because, like, when I look at you, I feel like you are someone who sat in the rain with me, you know?
Do it. Don't do it. That's it's all right.
Sorry,
I love you.
Down.
And I don't cry, guys. Oh, I don't cry, and I don't have emotions. So I hope you guys. I do have emotions. I'm just like really bad at showing them. And I actually, this one time, I like had a Dory's birthday party at my house, and I was so excited for it. And I was like, she's gonna love it. And she came in and she started like bawling, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I literally called my other friend. I was like, what do I do?
She was like, I have no idea what to do. I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah, there was no holding that in, honestly. No. Yeah, I mean, as you know, the residency was a very hard year for me.
Yeah.
And truly, like, I think about you, and I'm like, you've never like tried to stop the rain because there was no stopping it, but you like just sat in it with me. But yeah, even when I think about my birthday, like, we had to work that whole day. It was like a 12-hour day. And like, I was trying to celebrate with my friends after, but it was kind of one of those things where everyone was so just exhausted. So I just felt like no one really wanted to be there. And then I go to your house because we're all supposed to like go paint at your house. And you had this whole setup with balloons and this cake that you made. Gosh.
We had such a good time too. I feel like that a perfect amount of people were there. Really? And it was so fun.
It was so fun. It was like you, me, Mercy, EG.
Yeah, EG.
Talisa? Was Talisa there? I don't know.
I think she was.
Anyway, yeah, it was just a special time. Good. So, okay, we're going to move on. Sorry, I got to stop crying. And we're so over time. Okay, next question. How do you feel like your friendships have brought you closer to the Lord? Whether it was for good or not so much.
I feel like mostly it was for good. Okay. I mean, even thinking about the residency, and like I just remember, even just times. I mean, I think about even times me, you, Jazz, and Gio just literally sitting together and just talking about life. But also just seeing you guys. I feel like seeing you guys together and watching y'all now.
Yeah,
like,
we're all so different.
We did the residency,
I
we
know.
were all just like trying to figure it out.
Literal babies.
Yeah. Seeing you guys now.
I know.
You doing your thing.
I know. Everyone's like really coming to their own. I know. Because I feel like we were all just so, I feel like we helped each other find ourselves. Yeah. You know, because we were all so just like not sure what we were doing with life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in a way too, like we were all going through like the same thing in different ways, which is comforting, but also like it's hard. I was like, so man, true. My credit card hates to see me coming, hates the residency here to see me coming.
No, actually.
I was like, please no more. No. But I mean,
the snack closet. We lived off of that.
Closet was my dinner closet, my lunch closet, my breakfast closet.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah,
that was tough. We really survived.
It was through that time where I feel like, one, I didn't feel alone, but two, it was teaching us to be dependent on the Lord.
Come on.
And that's not what I was expecting to go into the residency.
Right?
Like, we're gonna
have a fun time.
It's
gonna be all vibes.
The church got us. They're gonna take care of us. God's like, nah. But I will.
Yeah.
You're gonna struggle.
And he did.
We did struggle.
And we did struggle.
But it was.
It's true.
I feel like my friendships. I think between all of my friends, I will say I think you, Gio, and Jazz have been probably the most life-changing in a way when it comes to me seeing being able to see the Lord and just how much he loves me, because you guys have played a big role in that. Shout
beautiful.
Out to Gio and Jazz.
I know. Shout out to Gio and Jazz. Love them.
You guys. And all my other friends. I know. Love you guys too. I love all of you.
They can have a moment. Yeah. Okay, last question. What's a piece of advice you'd want the audience to know to help them be holy friends?
I think, honestly, I struggle with this too because I do this.
Okay.
This also might sound kind of corny, but I think as the follower of Christ community, believers of the Lord, Christians, whatever you want to call them, I think we need to be better at pointing to Jesus instead of pointing at other people.
Come on.
Because it's good to have really good friends.
Yeah.
But God doesn't just call us to love perfect friends. He says to love our neighbor.
Come on.
And we are in a generation where I feel like we're always like, oh, this person's toxic, or this person's this, or this person's that. And our cutoff game is pretty strong.
So true.
It's so strong.
So true.
But Jesus didn't call us to be around perfect people.
Right.
He called us to be around everybody and to love them well, as he does.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I feel like people we're like human, we're not perfect.
Right.
And I've had friends who have hurt my feelings, and I've hurt people's feelings.
Right.
And I don't know, I just feel like we're so quick to call people out. And that's where the division comes.
Totally.
I mean, I do it. It's so easy for me to like see a mega church and I'm like, that pastor, man, or like I'm like, oh man, this church. But it's like, man, pray for them. Point to Jesus.
So good.
Instead of calling people out and pointing, like, just pray for them. Pray for your brothers and sisters. And I mean, this is the problem we have, where I feel like there's so much division in even just like the Christian community, but just
the world,
us, everyone. So I think we can just all collectively, including myself, especially myself, I feel like we need to be praying over each other more and just pointing to the Lord instead of just calling each other and pointing. And I do believe in conviction,
right?
But I think we need to be better at judgment. And just praying for each other.
I love that.
Loving each other through those hard times.
Right.
And when I signed up to be a friend to you, it's not just through the easy times and the agreeable times.
Come on.
But through those hard times.
Yeah.
And those are going to be the times that really test our friendship, but also grow it. And I think when we have a firm foundation of Jesus in that, and he is the center of it, then it's going to help. It's going to help us grow. Individually and together. And I think community and friendship is so important. but I also think there's a lot of division in the Christian community. And I think the reason there is a lot of division is because we are so quick to call people out. But we ourselves also are not perfect. And
so true.
Yeah.
I think, well, I talk a lot about like the 3 building blocks of what I think makes a holy friend, which is really going just based off of the life of Jesus, which is accountability, empathy, and humility. Praise God. Praise God. Yes, accountability, empathy, and humility. And I think accountability is a big thing, but you can't like lean too far that side to where you just want to like call them out and like bring their filth to the surface. It's like you have to also have the empathy of knowing where they're at, or like the humility of also knowing like you're not perfect too.
Right.
And so, wait, do you remember when we went to that podcast tour last summer with Jackie Hill Perry?
I think you were by yourself. Oh, I was with you. Yes. I was like, are you talking about one of your low? Okay.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, remember? So it was so good. Jackie Hill Perry and Preston Perry came to Atlanta and they had a podcast tour. And I remember there was a question of someone asking like how to love difficult people, essentially. And Preston talked a lot about how like when we have someone who's hard to love, people tend to either like be very aggressive and like tell them this is how you should be, or be very like run away from them, like I don't want to be around them. And I remember him saying like God wants us to know what it feels like to be around difficult people. Like he wants us to experience how to love them, because that's what he does.
Yeah.
And I mean, that whole like episode that they filmed really did make me rethink my whole life, like the way that I view friendships, because I think it's easy to just run away once it gets difficult.
Oh my gosh. But like Jesus, one of his followers,
right,
Judas.
Hello.
I mean, helped bring him to was one of the reasons he was brought to the cross. Like,
right.
And then you have Peter, who I mean,
they're so imperfect.
And he was also the tax collector. Right. Matthew was following. It's all these imperfect people.
Yeah,
that's why he asked them to follow him, not because they were perfect and they could live up to whatever
his standard.
But and so I just think there's a lot of beauty in imperfectionism, and I think if we weren't imperfect, there'd be no need for Jesus. But thank God there was a need for Jesus, and he sent his son to die for us. But I just think we all need to just be better at that.
Totally.
Walking alongside each other through those really tough times. And there is a good thing with boundaries. I think there has to be boundaries.
Very true.
But,
very true.
I don't know. I just think friendships now are just so they're so fragile. And it's just relationships aren't easy.
Yeah.
Because people aren't easy.
Right.
And that's just the way that it is.
Totally. Which I've said this a million times, like no one is above hurting people, like I don't think if you're gonna love at all, like you're gonna get hurt. So I think we should just stop expecting people to not hurt us. And
if they're not hurting you, they're probably not your real friend.
Come on,
your surface friend.
Hello,
you just get a little coffee with them.
Exactly. And nothing's ever wrong.
Nothing's ever wrong. It's fine to have friends you can just kind of like hang out and have easy
surface level.
It's also good to have
deeper
friendships.
So true. I think it's beautiful that God allows us to experience more of him through our friendships. And I experience more of God through you. So thank you for coming on.
Love you so much.
Love you.
Okay. Signing off.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye.